Hello, this is Tyler Anderson, the man behind Isaac Driftwood, and I've never really done this much that before. I'm sorry for kind of my stuttering and everything, but I figured I would do something new, something I haven't really done before, where I'm going to kind of explain, you know, a little bit of where Isaac Driftwood comes from and the origin of Isaac Driftwood. Now, some might say, and some people out there will start, saying that, so he's a complete rip-off of this, he's a complete rip-off of that, he's a, this and that. And no. The way I see it is I'm paying homage to a lot of the movies from the past, like Texas Chainsaw and Children of the Corn, The Hills of Eyes, Wrong Turn. But where Isaac Driftwood comes from, well, I'm gonna just start it out like this. So, I know that some of you know about Isaac. I know that some of you know about Darkseid. You know, the demonic spirit I did. Where I was wearing where I was wearing the mask and the trench coat or the coat, and I was dressed in all black, and I didn't talk, which was, a me paying homage, and it was kind of influenced by the movie Sinister. Mr. Boogie, the one with Stephen Hawking. I'm not Stephen Hawking, Ethan Hawke. I'm really messing this up, but I did, the whole thing, and I did the whole thing with Darkseid and everything like that, and I, thought sometime down the road it was running its course, and I've also heard too that because Darkseid wasn't really talking, and I was always using the red light and all that stuff, you know, and yeah, I know that sometimes, when, something doesn't talk, or, something just runs its course, especially for a character or something that is only one-dimensional and it doesn't talk, it doesn't really go far. So I took a break from being that, and then I thought to myself, well, what else could I do? Like, I don't, I didn't want to, like, take too much of a break from my horror brand. So I thought to myself, okay, what could I do next? And I thought, and I was thinking, well, Isaac from Children of the Corn, take that, pay homage to it, even though my idea was for me to do, a little bit of cosplay, like a cosplay thing, have a black fedora and all this stuff, and then later on it was like black makeup, dark eyeshadow and stuff. But then I, started the sinister minster character persona gimmick, in wrestling terms, gimmick. And then, I developed it, and, I was going by the sinister minister Tyler Anderson, and then it started getting really hot, really hot weather, because it always does around the summertime. So then I started wearing, you know, I kept the fedora, but then I started wearing like flannels, like long sleeve flannels and long sleeve, all this, and I was wearing like black tank shirts, and blue jeans and black jeans sometimes. And then I thought to myself, well, because I've also I was teasing the name like long before I decided on it, you know, to give more of a edge and more of a, you know, darker, image to fit in with it, and to kind of, you know, and to pay homage to some of the Rob Zombie films, you know, like Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpse. I took the name Isaac from Children of the Corn, and then I took the name Otis. I took the name Driftwood from Otis Driftwood and put them together to make Isaac Driftwood. And then just stick to that way. I remember I kind of re-debuted the whole thing and became Isaac Driftwood. And then I later on thought, well, Isaac Driftwood is Southern, and he's a little bit of a backwoods visionist, delusional visionist. And then I thought to myself, well, Jacksonville, Isaac Driftwood's from Jacksonville. And then later on I was told that, it wasn't really fitting, so what did I go next with? Oh, I went with Stone Mount, Georgia. So Isaac Driftwood was from Stone Mount, Georgia, was born in 1992, and was, this delusional backwoods redneck who had a little bit of a, a little bit of an outspoken person, a little bit of an outspoken voice, said what was on his mind. Kind of similar to kind of what I am, So there's a little bit of the real me tied into the character, because in this day and age, in this world, sometimes we live in a world where, in Isaac's words, there's a lot of people that, kind of are very, not spoken, or they're very spoken, but, we live in a world where everything's kind of hush-hush, and, you can't do this and you can't do that. But then I became Isaac Driftwood, and it was kind of like my coping, my therapy, like sometimes, behind closed doors, I go through a lot of things. I go through depression, anxiety, and some days are kind of rough, but, sometimes, it's really hard for me to speak and, find the words about how I'm feeling. Well, every time I've been able to be Isaac Driftwood, it's helped express a little bit of the actual me and what I feel. Because sometimes a lot of people, and I'm not saying, I'm not talking shit or anything, but a lot of people, there are certain crowds of people that sometimes treat people with mental illness, not too kindly. Sometimes, where they are outcasted, people with depression and anxiety and all and all these mental health issues kind of are outcasted, and sometimes, kind of like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So, making Isaac Driftwood a little bit of this backwoods southern delusional outcast who didn't really fit in with the times of this era, with everything, kind of fit. Because it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of very, like, I didn't want to go too far and overboard with it. I didn't want to, like, cause a bunch of bullshit or anything like that. But I did want to make Isaac Driftwood like this outspoken individual that had this mouth and this captivating thing where, my words and his words can, take someone or a whole crowd of people, or whoever was, watching and listening, and take them on this journey in form of expression, where Isaac Driftwood was kind of like a little bit of that outcast side, where he didn't really fit in with today's world, but that was okay, because that's what made him different. Being weird and being all these things sometimes is okay, because that's kind of separates you from the rest. And that's how I've always done it. And that's how I will always do it, because, and yeah, I've thought about, sometimes not doing not being him anymore and switching to something else. But then I always keep thinking to myself, well, there's more to tell. There's more to be. And I always enjoy being Isaac Driftwood. I always enjoy letting a little bit of that crazy visionist, that figure who said everything that was on his mind, and that can express himself and take anything, even though it might be a little bit dark and a little bit not for a crowd of people sometimes, but can relate to certain people, and that's what I want to be with Isaac Driftwood, is for him to be, to find somebody, or for people to actually maybe, relate, and to actually give, this idea, this character, persona of mine a chance, for him to be heard like everybody else. That's how I want. That's all I've ever wanted, is for him to be known. He might not be, I don't care if he's liked or disliked, like I've always said, I'm not an angel, I'm not a sinner, I'm not good, I'm not bad, I am Driftwood. And sometimes, being goody tissues, sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't get you very far. Sometimes you have to, be that person that isn't afraid to step over lines, that is not afraid to express themselves, not afraid to go to that side and express a lot of things and be shocking and be different from what the world represents, to never change. And that's important. And that's all that's all I want to say. So thank you for listening and letting me tell the whole experience and the whole origin of Isaac Driftwood and the message behind it. So make sure to, like I said, enjoy this video, like it, and follow the leader.